Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again. I promised 10 o'clock I would be doing a Diffusing 101 workshop, and then I got call from family to make sure we weren't freezing in the blizzard and bad things happening. But we're all hunkered down. I have a pot of soup in the refrigerator that I'm going to warm up. So I wrote down a few things about essential oil diffusing that I have learned over the past year or so that are things you may not think about. So whether you have your own diffusers at home or if you have Young Living diffusers through starter kits that you bought at the office, either way will apply. So I'm just going to do this is just going to be some quick tips and tricks to using your diffuser. So I'm going to start out with water. Sometimes people think with their diffuser they want to keep it cleaner, so they want to use distilled water or spring water or somehow some sort of filtered water. You actually want to use tap water when you diffuse. And one of the reasons why is when water has been making its way through the pipes to the city, to the house, and up, and it gets agitated and shook up, and so it actually has an energetic level that is greater than if you use distilled water. So if you like your diffuser to have that beautiful mist, or the Aria diffuser is the one I have at the office, and I have it here sitting next to me. Let me turn my phone around really quick. You can look at the Aria. So this is the Aria diffuser. And actually the one at the office tends to be a little bit smokier and cloudy and swirly. It's beautiful. Tap water actually helps with the essential oil molecules attaching to the water because of chemistry and electrons and energy. So just use plain tap water, it's just fine. And it also creates more of that beautiful mist that we like to see. So, which is, it's not steam, it's just sort of the tiny ultrasonic molecules bringing those wonderful essential oil benefits to our skin and our breath and our lungs, and making your house smell great, and having, hopefully, if you're using Young Living oils or some other therapeutic benefit oils, that will help as well. So tap water. If you use cold water, don't expect to see a lot of mist. You actually want your water to be, the closer to room temperature it is, the more mist you'll see. Don't overfill it. If there's a mark, if you fill over it, the ultrasonic plate at the bottom, at the base of your diffuser, will not be able to work as efficiently. So if you're thinking, I want to put extra water in so I don't have to change it as frequently or add water as frequently, you're actually sort of counteracting how your diffuser is trying to work. So just go to your fill line, don't go over the fill line. Let's see, cleaning your diffuser. If you use essential oils that have a carrier oil with them in the bottle, there are a few Young Living oils that have carrier oils for specific purposes. Stress Away, for example, is one of them. But for the most part, you want to use essential oils that do not have carrier oils in it, because carrier oil is usually grapeseed oil or neutral vegetable oil, and that will dirty your diffuser quickly, or more quickly, because that's an oil. Essential oils actually aren't oils like we're familiar with, cooking oils that leave a residue. Essential oils are actually molecular components like alcohols and esters and phenols and terpenes, and they're aromatic molecules. They're not really oils, and that's why we can use them for aromatherapy. So they will leave less residue in your diffuser than using an oil with a carrier oil in it. If you have oils that you've bought at the store that just sort of arbitrarily at the health food store, at Whole Foods, most other inexpensive essential oils are inexpensive because they have been cut with carrier oils. So if you have, say, an $8 bottle of lavender from, ABC brand versus Young Living's brand bottle of lavender that might cost $16, you're really not paying half price. You're getting half the essential oil because they fill the bottle with grapeseed oil, which is really inexpensive. And if you don't use the right kind of grapeseed oil, it's actually removed from grape seeds using a chemical solvent process. So if you have grapeseed oil in your house, make sure that it says hexane free. So going back on. So carrier oils with essential oil in your blends will make your diffuser get gunk up a little bit faster. So when you do rinse your diffuser out, you can usually use plain water if it hasn't been sitting for too long, and that's fine. Most diffusers will come with a little brush. The Young Living diffusers come with a little brush. And rinse it, use the little brush, get the nooks and crannies around the ultrasonic plate, and rinse all the bits. And I even let mine dry out every once in a while. I'll put it to the side, let it air dry before I refill it and start using it again. If your diffuser is exceptionally gunky, you can rinse it with rubbing alcohol. You can even run it with a half a cup of rubbing alcohol in it to help cleanse the ultrasonic plate. Just put the lid on, close it up like you normally would, and just run it with plain alcohol for an hour or so. So you'll smell it, so you may want to put it in a different room, but that will help do more of a deep clean for it. The Young Living diffusers have a warranty of a year on them, so if you ever have any issue, you can always go on live chat on the Young Living website. You can also call. They'll take you through a troubleshooting protocol to see if there's anything wrong with it that you can fix yourself. And if not, if it's within that year, they'll send you a new diffuser and you'll mail the other one back. And usually what they'll do, they don't say so, they don't promise it, but whenever I've had an issue with the diffuser, they actually, for my trouble, send me a bottle of free peppermint oil or tangerine or something nice, just because their customer service is amazing. So yay for Young Living. Types of diffusers, they have, diffusers all have different capacities. The Aria diffuser that I showed you that is in my office runs from, we run it pretty constantly, 7 days a week, and we have a little glass of water set next to it, so when it stops diffusing because the water level drops, we just refill it. And some diffusers last an hour, some 4 to 6 hours. Young Living has a diffuser called the Rainstone that has a longer capacity. We like the Aria at the office because aesthetically it's just beautiful. People see it and they walk over and they go, wow, and it looks beautiful, it smells beautiful, it's just enjoyable to look at. So it's a really great addition to our waiting room. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of chemistry, and this is about how oils diffuse differently and diffuse at different speeds. I just mentioned earlier about chemistry and that essential oils aren't actually oils like we think of olive oil and castor oil and vegetable oil. They're actually mostly made up of aromatic molecules that evaporate. That's one way to tell if you have a bottle of essential oil that has been cut with a carrier oil that you got it from another store, or is if you put a drop of Young Living pure oil on a piece of paper, little by little, it'll evaporate, and then you won't see anything on the paper. If you have an essential oil that has carrier oil in it, if you put a drop on paper, the essential oil component will evaporate, but usually you'll see a little stain of oil, grease stain, that won't go away, and that's because that's the carrier oil that's in your oil. So you may think you're getting a bargain when you get the other stuff, but you're not getting a bargain when you're just paying for that extra stuff. I use carrier oil. I have it in a separate bottle. I have my essential oil, and if I ever need carrier oil for what I want that essential oil to do, I apply it, and the bottle remains uncontaminated and can last for years and years and years as long as it's not contaminated. If you're buying essential oils that are not therapeutic grade, they still might smell nice, which is fine if that's all you're worried about, but there are therapeutic components to therapeutic grade essential oils. It's those molecules, the terpenes, the sesquiterpenes, the pinenes. They have a physiological effect on our bodies. It reaches our brain through our olfactory system, through our respiratory system. We can apply it to our skin. We absorb them through our skin. So when you read research about essential oils having benefits for our immune system or our respiratory system, or helping us relax at night, that's not fragrance that is having that effect. It's not just because you're smelling something, it relaxes you. You're actually getting the benefit from those molecules. If you're using fragrance oils, you might as well use plugins, which they're just don't use plugins. I'm not telling you to use them, but you might as well be, because you're just going for making your air smell a certain way, and it may or may not be natural. It may actually contain toxic components, and you're not going to get the therapeutic benefit from all of those molecules that I was just talking about. When you diffuse them, different molecules have different sizes. So, for example, the citrus oils are high in molecules called terpenes. The spruce and piney oils have pinene in them. Those molecules are smaller, they're lighter, they stay closer to the surface of your diffuser, and they diffuse quickly. So you may find that an hour into diffusing, you don't smell that lemon so much anymore, or the orange. And that's because it's been diffused. So it's not a big deal. Just add more. It's doing its job. It's going out in the air. It's making things smell good. Citrus oils tend to be very inexpensive, and they can have a really positive effect on your mood. They're uplifting. They can help with focus and mental clarity. So use them, but just know they're not going to last for 4 hours, because that's not the kind of molecule it is. Other molecules, for example, sandalwood or frankincense, are made, those molecules are much heavier and denser. They have a different physiological effect on our body. They also diffuse slower because they're larger. They tend to blend in more with the water. And so, for example, if you're using an essential oil blend like Joy or Stress Away, when you first start to diffuse it, it will smell like it does in the bottle. But the oils in that blend that are lighter will diffuse off quickly. So if you notice, after half an hour, 45 minutes, it starts to smell different. That's because little by little, as the lighter molecules evaporate, then the medium molecules evaporate, and then it gets to the end, and what's left is the sesquiterpenes, which are the very heavy, deep, complex molecules, like I said, are in frankincense and vetiver and sandalwood. So one of my favorite blends that Young Living puts out is called Live Your Passion. And it has sandalwood as its base note, but it also has orange in it, which diffuses off quickly. But I like the combination. So what I do is, when I diffuse Live Your Passion, I keep a bottle of orange next to the diffuser. And after about an hour, I can still smell the sandalwood. I just open up my diffuser and put one more drop of orange in, so I still get that full, wonderful smell that I associate with that particular blend, that I find to be just sort of energizing and grounding at the same time. So if you have blends that you like, see what's in it. And you may have to do the same thing if you like that smell. I have somebody who told me that they thought they liked Christmas Spirit when they smelled it in the bottle, but after they diffused it, they didn't like it so much. And that's what happened is well, it smelled good for a little while and then it didn't. Well, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do and what the molecules are doing. So you just have to keep that in mind, that there's a little bit of science involved in diffusing essential oils. Now, let me make sure there is a file section in Norfolk Droppers. This is the last thing I'm going to say. There's a file section in Norfolk Droppers where it has a price per drop list for Young Living essential oils. So, for example, the least expensive, I think they list as orange. It's 6 cents per drop, and you just need a few drops. So, and then it goes all the way to the most expensive. And what I'll do is, there's an alphabetical listing for price per drop, but I also made a version that is price per drop from low to high in cost. So that way you can see which blends might be more affordable for you to diffuse. Now, but just because something's inexpensive to diffuse doesn't mean that it's or inexpensive per drop doesn't mean that it's more inexpensive to diffuse. And the reason is, say for example, I put 3 drops of sandalwood in my diffuser, because what I just said, it diffuses very slowly. That might diffuse for 3 full hours and you still smell the sandalwood. If you put, but it might be 27 cents a drop. If you put 6 drops of orange in your diffuser, it's, and you use, so 6 drops times 6 cents a drop is 36 cents to diffuse. So it's technically less money for those 6 drops of oil, but in an hour it will be gone, because again, it's those light molecules. So you'll use more of it. So you do also need to be a judge and just sort of experiment with your oils and see what takes longer to diffuse and what doesn't, and sort of go from there. So just because something's on the low end of cost per drop doesn't mean it's more affordable to diffuse, because a more expensive oil with heavier molecules will last you longer. So I think that's about it. So I hope you found this interesting, useful. It will be available here in the Norfolk Droppers page forever, unless I see something funny about it that I don't like, but I don't think so. So thanks for joining me, and have a great snow day. Today it's a blizzard outside. So thanks so much.